progress on various projects throughout the county. Weather and unforeseen circumstances aside, we plan to begin the taxi lane T-hanger project on April the 25th. The project should be completed this summer. And also last weekend, the Friends of the Ferris Farm held their annual meeting, and Historic Sites had a successful black powder shoot. Commission staff will be in Kearney this Saturday, April 16th. That's in partnership with Sheriff Paul Escobar and County Clerk Megan Thompson. We certainly appreciate their partnership. We've had tremendous positive feedback from citizens on multiple shredding events, and we'll certainly continue hosting these events around the county. The taxi lane T-hanger project is an upgrade of the roadways in between the hangars, and this will add a drainage system and re-asphalt out of service.
Thank you. Comments from the commission? Commissioner Rickman?
Yeah, the one thing that I wanted to follow up a little bit more on had to do with the Friends of the Ferris Farm that had an excellent meeting last Saturday morning. They're in the process of trying to develop plans to bring more people to the farm to implement the vision of Mr. Ferris and the Ferris family. They had a very good presentation from our 4-H youth specialist from the University of Missouri Extension, Emily Bersgard, about viable options. She did a great job, and the Friends of the Ferris Farm asked me to hand to the other commissioners the packet of information that they had prepared for us having to do with the Ferris Farm. So,
Mission accomplished.
mission accomplished.
Commissioner Owen?
Let's see, this past week, there was Northland Neighborhood Hoods had a meeting down at their office, and Scott Wagner from Kansas City was there, and he gave a presentation on their growth in the future. It was very, very inspiring, quite frankly. Anyway, tomorrow night at 5:30 at the airport is Airport Advisory Board meeting. I plan to be there.
I have a few comments. One of the first one is I would like to respectfully request that Commissioner Owen is the member who made the motion to table 2016-101 without discussion, bring it up for debate at the earliest opportunity. This item deals with two issues: the use of county emails for political purposes, which could be interpreted as intimidation of employees, and prohibiting the use of taxpayer funds, resources, and personnel for unsolicited mailings by elected officials 90 days before they stand for election. On March 28, I filed a sunshine request for materials which set forth a timetable for completion of our outside audit. What came back essentially was a slightly over 2-page agenda of a meeting that took place. Really was not very enlightening. Those 3 pages cost $59.40. This is what we're charging average citizens for 3 pages of an agenda. I think that cannot help but have a chilling effect on citizens' ability to be able to access their government and discourage transparency. In fairness, the clerk's only charge was 30 cents for the copy, so I do appreciate that frugality on the part of the county clerk. In the past, there's been a list of PVCs, which are prepared by client documents. Those were not, as far as I'm aware, marked confidential or in any way not allowed to be public. All I wanted was to make sure that the firm receives all the documents from our county staff on time. Counselor, I have both verbally and in writing asked by what authority the county administrator ordered the partial removal of the wall in 350 in this building. That would seem to be in conflict with Missouri Statute 49.470. If this authority is granted in his contract, then the contract needs to be revised to comply with state law. In any case, I still await an answer, and I will insert in my comment the passage of that statute. Last week, the County Administrator put forth 2016-39, approved RFP 60-15 operations. On the agenda under immediate action request, it's a proposal that the proposed contract with the county for business to operate a kayak and paddle boat operation in Smithville Lake. That item was removed by the county administrator because permission had not been received from the Army Corps of Engineers. The administrator had not, as I recall, presented this proposed contract to the commission, and the inclusion of it on the agenda was my first look at that contract. Being on immediate action meant a vote on this contract could be made at that meeting, and I cannot vote on a new contract with that short of notice. As I looked through the administrator's contract, I did not see anything that empowers him to negotiate a contract without the permission of the county commission. Under his contract, the employee, quote, under letter G, employee will continue to supervise and direct the drafting of the commission agenda and all resolutions, ordinance, contracts as prepared by county council. Presentation to the commission. The councilor, I believe, was aware of the contract, did not prepare the specific contract. It was, I believe, basically a form contract, which in many instances will suffice. But this being a new contract, it being put forward on immediate action, I think put it in a different category. And the council did not prepare that specific contract, which is not consistent under the contract of the administrator. I believe this issue should be reviewed when we take a look at the county administrator's contract. In a recent newspaper article, the county administrator was reported of having said that, quote, this is quoting the article, not the administrator, that he would respond to information requests from the commission following a formal vote by its members, and close quote. I take that to mean that absent commission voting does not feel he needs to provide information to any minority member of the commission. Commission Rule 30.42 refers to tasks and assignments, not information. The administrator's position seems inconsistent with open government and the spirit of the International City/County Management Association guidelines referred to in the county administrator's contract. The administrator was also quoted in the newspaper as saying, quote, I have always followed the well-loved majority of the county commission per my contract with the county, close quote. I believe that the county administrator should serve the whole county commission, not just two or three, not just two members. That interpretation of the contract would justify disregarding request by any minority member. If this is commission policy, then it should be reflected in any revised contract for the administrator. This point should be clarified at the soonest possible moment. And finally, I recently proposed a rules change that would require a list of contracts that would require renewal be submitted to the commission to allow adequate time for discussion and consideration, which was tabled. I was referred to the county intranet for a list of those contracts. One contract that was not listed was the county administrator's contract. If no action is taken by the commission by the end of this month, it will automatically renew for 2 years. I believe that the issues of the authority to alter the structure of the county building, questions of the status of minority commission members, information requests, and other issues warrants a review and possible changes to that contract. A formal vote is required in the next few weeks. With that, we will move to approval of minutes of previous sessions.
There's one other point that I would like to raise. Under Commissioner's comments.
Well, we've already moved on, but I will go aloud.
Thank you. Under Commissioner's comments, the traditional use of Commissioner's comments has always been to update other members on maybe meetings that we used to be able to go to, that we would go to ourselves, such as what I did with regarding any of the packets. They were reserved for comments for the good of the order. They were reserved for positive reinforcement of different things that were going on in the county. I'm very concerned that what's going on here with regard to your commissioner's comments is you're reading something into the record. We can read. The other thing is you're raising topics that no one has an opportunity to respond. It's not posted with regard to sunshine.
You are responding right now.
It's not posted with regard to sunshine. So you were complaining about not being able to be prepared to move on something that we do all the time with regard to contract. It is impossible for our staff to be prepared to respond to any of these things that you're stating. It's impossible for the associate commissioners to be able to engage meaningfully in this. You're raising things that have been tabled that requires 2 commissioners to remove from the table, and yet you're referring to it again in violation of the rules. And I would contend that
What
you're
rule,
going to,
excuse me, but did you cite the rule that I'm in violation?
in violation of the rules having to do with work and business sections. Look at 30.16 and 30.15. Also, if you look at the commission agenda, 30.20. If you look also with regard to our rules pertaining to the sunshine law, it says that matters that are to be discussed, and you are discussing matters having to do with this commission, must be posted. You have not posted them. You raise them, to use a military term, you're using shoot and scoop type of philosophy here. You take shots and nobody has an opportunity to respond. That is not a proper use. It is not the traditional use of commissioners' comments. I think Commissioner Owen and I have continually stayed within the traditional use and the meaning of the interpretation of commissioners' comments throughout the years. If we're going to change the way that those rules are being interpreted, then there needs to be a rule change discussed and a proper opportunity for staff and everyone else to be able to have input so that we are in compliance with RSMO 610, the Sunshine Law. So I raise that as a point of order. I will probably continue to raise it as a point of order because I don't believe it gives all of us a fair opportunity to have input into things that you're saying without any notice whatsoever that you're even going to raise these things. So I've made my point, and I will raise it as a point of order, and I will continue to raise it as a point of order, that your comments are far, far outside the scope of any interpretation of our rules and commissioner comments as they have been historically presented before this commission.
I, of course, disagree with your interpretation of the rules and your comments, but certainly I appreciate your ability to express your opinion, and I hope that I will have the ability to express mine. Moving on to approval of minutes of previous sessions.
There are none as far as I'm ready to.
Just to clarify something, and I don't know that it's where we're at on this, but I heard somebody mention something about the approval of the 2015 minutes. Have they, Mr.